What's going on, everyone? So if you've been watching my videos for the past few days, you would know that I wanted the market to absolutely crash. Why would I want the market to crash? Because we were waiting to buy into these dips. I alerted the exact play that I was buying into. I explained the reasoning for my play completely for free on Twitter, and these are currently up 40 to 50%. We waited for extreme weakness in the NASDAQ. We got that weakness, and the play ended up working out perfectly for us. So in today's video, we're going to go over why I was looking for all of those things to happen. We're going to go over the stock market, the crypto market, the bond market. We're going to talk about how so many people made a bunch of money this week, and next week is going to be even better than the last. So without further ado, thank you so much for all your likes, your comments, and subscribes, and let's get started with the video. By the way, my last video got over 1,000 views. So yeah, you know, from now on, no more DMs. I'm not giving anyone advice. I'm famous now. So I'm kidding. Thank you guys so much. This is honestly huge for the channel. It's huge for everyone involved, and I'm glad I'm helping so many people. This is actually very amazing. So yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone for that. Now, the NASDAQ. So in my last video, I showed how the NASDAQ closed outside of the lower level of the B band 3 days in a row. So when that happens, that is extreme weakness. Okay, so I took that as a very good opportunity to see, okay, we have this crazy extreme weakness. I'm expecting us to overshoot to the downside to the 350s or below, or 350 to 355 area. And essentially we had a low of 354.38, and that is essentially when I really started buying into the dips heavier. And I was very confident in this play here that I shared with you guys, and currently this is working out perfectly, because intraday what ended up happening to the NASDAQ was that it fell for a fourth day in a row outside of the lower level of the B band. So I took that as a huge safe buy opportunity, and I shared that with you guys, and it worked out perfectly. Also on Friday, you can see that the RSI closed at 36, but on the daily chart on Friday, the RSI had dipped below and touched 29 intraday. So that is another reason why I said the RSI is oversold for the first time since March 2020. So there were two huge reasons why the market just looked ready to bounce. And you know, obviously when I give you guys these plays, I'm cognizant of the fact that there are people following my plays that are trying to make money, right? But of course, you know, I'm not your financial advisor. This is not financial advice. But when I give my thoughts on the market, I am aware that people are following them. So I'm making sure that there's some high quality stuff. And I'm very happy that they've been working out. And clearly, you know, so many people have been making tons of money, and it's been really nice. So anyway, moving forward. So what does this mean now? So we're holding a bunch of calls. We got into calls at an amazing average. All right. First of all, what you have to do is, what I'm doing personally is I'm making sure that, say for example, I'm up 50% on a position. I am going to have a stop loss, for example, 25 or 30%. I'm going to have a stop loss, for example, if the NASDAQ crosses below 357, this low here at 357.10. If the NASDAQ crosses down below that and the option is still profitable, I'm definitely selling like the rest of my options, because that is a very important level of support, and essentially it coincides with the 38.2% fib level at 357.38. Okay, so basically the NASDAQ looks super bullish. It bounced off of these lows, but it now needs to cross above 361 to 362 area. If not, then this area right here is just purely going to be a good shorting opportunity for people to load up on puts and then bring the market down even lower. But you know, that is irrelevant to us. We caught these dips here and we are profitable. So now our job is to continue to remain profitable. But yeah, that's fine. enough rambling about that. What does it mean now for the market? So we need to hold 357.30, right? The next area of resistance is going to be 361 to 362. Okay, we can see the RSI is bouncing up. We can see the MACD is pointed upward as well. And usually when this happens, it means that we are going to continue going higher. So, you know, this potentially could just be the bottom for this entire vomit. And we can, you know, retrace back. But the key level, the key zone is 357 on the NASDAQ. If we're above it, we're bullish. If we're below it, we're bearish. All right. So that's really it. It doesn't look like we can apply the Bollinger Bands anymore for the next few days because the Bollinger Bands are much lower than we are currently. So it looks like there's tons more room to the downside if we were to fall. That's really it on the NASDAQ. But now we have to look at the 30-year yield to see how much strength potentially there is in the NASDAQ bouncing. So here's a messy chart of the 30-year yield. So the 30-year yield, if the 30-year yield goes up, then the NASDAQ essentially goes up. But if the 30-year yield goes down, then the NASDAQ goes down, okay? So what we were monitoring was that the 30-year yield was extremely overextended to the downside. It found support, and it began bouncing. So that was the reason why we targeted the NASDAQ for calls, because the bonds are moving in a bullish way, a bullish bounce, yet the equity itself needed to catch up. So I saw that as a bullish signal as well. So there were tons and tons of reasons to get into calls, and they all worked out. So the 30-year yield currently looks much more bullish. The RSI bounced pretty heavily, which is somewhat bearish. We need to cross above 160.20. We can see the MACD is crossing up above now as well. So there's tons of strength in the 30-year yield still, but we need to cross above these levels of resistance. If we can cross above these levels of resistance, then that would be very good for the NASDAQ, obviously. But again, this could just be a opportunity to bounce here and then load up into shorts, okay? That's what we have to be cognizant about. And overall, that's the analysis on the NASDAQ and 30-year yield. Now it's very important to go ahead and take a look at the IWM and the 10-year yield. All right, so the 10-year yield clearly was very overextended to the upside, and it started to fall. So if the 10-year yield is going down, then that is not necessarily bullish for the IWM. But because we saw extreme weakness in the overall equities market, the IWM, the SPY, the NASDAQ, everyone bounced. Okay? Things were at support on the IO. This worked out perfectly. Okay? So anyway, yeah, the 10-year yield showing weakness. That's fine. Okay? You know, the MACD still shows that there's still potential weakness to the downside. We have not yet crossed down below. The RSI still shows tons more room to the downside. But overall, in the short term, I am very bullish on the 10-year yield currently. And I'm very bullish on the IWM because this huge breakout here basically signals that towards the end of the year, IWM and the banking sector and the 10-year yield essentially will be the leaders of the market into the end of the year. But yeah, so essentially, you know, now we need to see if we can hold these levels of support at 143, for example, on the 10-year yield. If that happens, then the IWM will continue bouncing and then lead the market. Okay. The reason why the 30-year yield was falling down to begin with was because investors wanted to put on more short-term risk. They wanted shorter term. They wanted faster money. Okay. So there's no point of investing in a longer-term yield, which is like a longer term, safer investment. Oh yeah, I'm investing in something, yeah, 30-year yield, you know, I'm gonna be safe. I can put my millions of dollars, I'll get like a nice, solid, safe return. But this huge downward move was basically telling us that investors and banks and hedge funds do not care for this safer long-term reward. They wanted a short-term banger to end the year, essentially. So we're gonna key off of that, and they essentially want shorter term gains, and the shortest term gains are going to come from the 10-year yield as well as the IWM potentially. So going into the IWM, so in last video I said that this area, this support level needed to hold, and that is literally exactly where we came down to. We bounced off of this level. Another reason why I got into NASDAQ calls was because the IWM was near support, and look at how beautiful this worked out. We bounced off of the 23.6% fib level beautifully. All right, let's take a look at the MACD here. The MACD looks very, very bullish. It didn't even cross down below. It bounced off of the yellow line and continued on higher. So that is very, very, very bullish for the IWM. Of course, we closed above this important green trend line here, which is a very important uptrend line. So we closed above it, and now, you know, we closed exactly at the 20 exponential moving average. We need to cross above that, close above these two high wicks right here, right? We need to close above those levels, essentially at 222.72. And then, you know, the main level of resistance is going to be this right here, the 618% fib level at essentially 224. So if we can close above 224, then that's it. Like the bounce and the calls and everything that we got into, success. So yeah, we need to see how the IWM responds now. But to get a better understanding, now let's go ahead and take a look at the SPY. So here's the SPY. It's another reason why I got into dips, because we were close to this level of support and we were very overextended outside of the lower level of the B band as well. So I took all of those different factors, the bonds, the pricing of the equities for the IWM, the NASDAQ, I took all of those factors, and it gave me the chance to really find a really good bottom on the market and give you guys that alert. So yeah, I'm looking at multiple different factors. I'm being completely transparent about everything that I'm looking at, so you can literally do the exact same thing that I'm doing now moving forward, which is great. I'm happy that I'm giving you guys all of this information. This has changed my life, so you know, like, why not help you guys as well? So anyway, the SPY, the MACD is extremely oversold. It looks like it's about to cross above. That's bullish, right? Number two, the RSI is moving upward as well, which is great. We held this level of support here. We bounced off of it. We can see that we closed inside this blue channel again. Now the level that needs to close above is 434.63, which is the 23.6% fib level here. And then if we can consolidate and continue moving on higher, then, you know, we need to see us close above this blue trend line here. And if that happens, then, you know, boom, we're successful. So yeah, either way, this could potentially have been the bottom of this huge downward move. And if that's the case, then I'm gonna talk about this on YouTube for the rest of the year. I'm just kidding. But I mean, yeah, this worked out perfectly, man. This bounce was perfect, and I'm very happy that it worked out. So yeah, those are the levels on the SPY. We need to close above these highs here at 437, and yeah, that's gonna be the second important level of resistance above this area here. And aside from that, now all eyes are on the futures. All eyes are going to be on the bonds and the Chinese markets and the international markets. So tonight, when you know, after 8 p.m. essentially, you can Google investing futures, and then you'll literally see the price of the futures market currently. So you'll see, okay, the SPY is up this percentage, the NASDAQ is up this percentage, the IWM is up this percentage. So this percentage basically moves live after 8 p.m. on Sundays, okay? So that'll give you a better indication of, you know, your swing plays and where the market can open up. So yeah, that's also something that I do. And yeah, aside from that, that's really the I have to go over the dollar now. So the dollar is clearly, you know, very similar to the 10-year yield. It was skyrocketing, but now, you know, I think the dollar is going to dip back down. You know, this is huge overextension on the MACD, huge overextension on the RSI. We topped out here, and it looks like we're going to come back down, see if, you know, 93.46 is going to hold as support. But overall, we need to see the dichotomy of the dollar in relation with the rest of the indices market. The dollar was going up because the indices market was going down. So now that the indices market can potentially start bouncing, the dollar most likely will start falling. So there's my analysis on the stock market. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the crypto market. Oh my god. All right, so oh man. All right, so goodness gracious, man. I said that, you know, we needed to close above 43,000, right? We closed above 43,000, and then I said we need to close above this trend line, this important uptrend line. And what ended up happening? We crossed all the way above it, and we're now trading up here beautifully. So essentially what needs to happen is, you know, this is not a sustainable bullish move for Bitcoin. There needs to be a retracement, and then there needs to be like a bullish retracement. We need to fall down to essentially 46,000 and create a bullish structure, and then continue bouncing on higher. All right, but regardless, this needs to retrace back a bit, I think. This is not a sustainable move, and every time in the past when we do have like a huge rip to the upside, there is a retracement. So expect a retracement on Bitcoin. This is not the time to go super long. Down here was the time to go super long, but of course, just be patient, wait for pullbacks. When those pullbacks come, do not be afraid to buy them, because like I said, the 10-year yield increasing and the 10-year yield showing that much strength, I was saying, was strength in the banks. So if banks have a lot of money, and if hedge funds have a lot of money to buy now, where do you think that money is going to also go? It's going to go into Bitcoin, especially if Bitcoin is performing better than the stock market. So that's literally what was happening. The stock market was falling, but because the 10-year yield was going up, people used that as a sign like, hey, you know, okay, that means that the course of events for the equities market and the stock market in general means it's pretty bullish, the fact that the 10-year yield went up. So if the 10-year yield went up, then that means Bitcoin could potentially start going up as well, because banks have more money to buy Bitcoin with. That's literally it. Okay, so Bitcoin completely eradicated all of these levels of resistance because of strength in the 10-year yield, in my opinion. So we need to cross and close above 47,900, which is this 50% fib level. If we close above that level, that would be spectacular, but I don't think that should happen, honestly. I think that we should fall back down to like 46,000, get a better opportunity for people to buy into dips, and then move on higher. Okay, Ethereum is going to look spectacular as well. You can see that it's still not yet at the 50% fib level as Bitcoin is, but you know, it bounced very beautifully as well. The only issue now is that we are very overextended to the upside on the MACD for both Ethereum and Bitcoin. So in the short term, we could have a small little pullback, but overall, this is a fantastic move. Very happy for everyone that got involved. Congratulations to everyone that was buying the dips and accumulating, etc. Congratulations to everyone that bought the dips on the NASDAQ options. Everything worked out really well last week. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate all of your support. And of course, have an amazing day. I will see you guys tomorrow.